Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to Tousi TV. This is your global news channel. I'm Tousi, and it's all over for Keir Starmer as Labour leader and Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. He has now been forced to make a huge confession about about his role when it comes to the Epstein Mandelson saga, and of course, McSweeney. We're going to talk about him as well. What was Peter Mandelson actually doing, and what Starmer was doing in terms of the knowledge from Labour headquarters to Downing Street directly, number 10 Downing Street. Now, we're going to give you guys the latest update. This has just come out over the last hour as the members of Parliament in the House of Commons are now voting to release the latest secret files, the Mandelson files, that are exposing Keir Starmer's role in this scandal. We're going to get your reaction. First things first, big thank you to every single person who supported us. We are now at 1,400,000 subscribers. Now, let's talk about Mandelson and the confession by the Prime Minister, because during the Prime Minister's questions about an hour and a half ago, the PM stood up and said he doesn't know, he didn't know anything. And Peter Mandelson lied to the Prime Minister when Keir Starmer was appointing him as the US ambassador. So everybody was like, oh yeah, poor Prime Minister, he was so stupid, he didn't know. Well, he's now confessed in the middle of House of Commons that he just remembered, he did know about the ongoing friendship between Mandelson and Epstein. Angela Rayner, the former deputy leader, has now called for Keir Starmer to allow the Intelligence and Security Committee to oversee the publication of the secret files, the Mandelson vetting documents. Now, basically what happens is, the Prime Minister says, Peter Mandelson lied to me about Epstein. I didn't know. Then he says, oh yes, actually I did know. And then they say, okay, let's release the files, the secret files for Peter Mandelson. Then the Labour government said, sure. Oh, wait, no, we can't, because national security. Then there's, it's not really in the interest of national security because we've got problems. Intelligence, things will come out. It's not really good. It's sensitive data. And then they come out, the Labour government say, well, we have a solution. What if we use the intelligence services to come out, third party, independent, to help you get the information that you want? Now the MPs are rebelling, of course. Now, during the Prime Minister's questions, this is how the whole thing started. This is where things got ugly very quickly. Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the opposition, the Tory party, asked Keir Starmer if he conveniently forgot the fact that he was told by a journalist in January 2024 about Mandelson's ongoing, at the time obviously, relationship and friendship with Epstein when he was still alive, after his conviction. Starmer said, when new information came to light, I sacked him. When new information, so this is the moment he was pretending he didn't know.
Mr. Speaker, I asked the Prime Minister a very specific question. Did he know that Mandelson had continued his friendship with Epstein after the conviction? He says if he knew then what he knows now, but he did know. In January 2024, a journalist from the Financial Times informed the Prime Minister that Mandelson had stayed in Epstein's house even after that conviction for child prostitution. So did the Prime Minister conveniently forget this fact, or did he decide it was a risk worth taking?
Prime Minister. Well, Mr. Speaker, as the House would expect, we went through a process. There was a due diligence exercise, and then there was security vetting by the security services.
And your team?
What was not known was the depth, the sheer depth and extent of the relationship. He lied about that to everyone for years. A new information was published in September showing the relationship was materially different to what we'd been led to believe.
He's lying.
When the new information came to light, I sacked him. But we did go through a due diligence exercise. The points The points that are being put to me were dealt with within that exercise.
It's done.
In response to the humble address this afternoon, I intend to make sure that all of the material is published. Mr. Speaker, the only exemptions are national security, if it would prejudice national security. My first duty is obviously to keep this country safe. And when we drafted humble addresses, we always put an exemption for national security. But also
just talking
anything
nonsense.
will prejudice international relations. Mr. Speaker, you in the House will appreciate that in the course of discussions country to country, there are very sensitive issues of security, intelligence and trade,
always use as an
which
excuse.
cannot be disclosed without compromising the relationship between the two countries or a third country. Mr. Speaker, so I can be totally open with the House, I should also disclose that the Metropolitan Police have been in touch with my office this morning to raise issues about anything that would prejudice their investigations. We're in discussion with them about that, and I hope to be able to update the House, but I do think I should make that clear to the House at this point, because those
the way it's
discussions are ongoing.
I'm gonna show you something that happened in the Commons as he was speaking. The way it's going, he's not just going to lose his job as Prime Minister, he might go to prison. There are people, McSweeney is going to be in huge trouble, and I'm going to explain why. But before that, just have a look at this. Keir Starmer had to hide his hands while he was speaking in the chamber because he couldn't stop them from shaking. He was so nervous, he knew he was lying. Just watch this moment. Look at his hand, especially his left hand.
But can I reassure the House, Mr. Speaker?
Look at the left hand.
Reassure the House.
And then with the right hand, he's going to hold it.
Deciding what
wait.
falls into those categories will not be a political
it's going to get worse.
process. It will be
look,
led by
he's
the
shaking.
Secretary,
He had to control it.
supported by government legal teams.
He's over, he's done. It's done, guys. Now, Kemi also asked about the vetting that Starmer received on Peter Mandelson and the mention of Mandelson's friendship with Epstein after conviction. Obviously, we all knew they were friends before, but after the conviction, Starmer said, yes, it did. As a result, various questions were put to him. This House will see the full documentation. He lied. Keir, you lied as well. Watch.
The humble address in a moment. But the Prime Minister cannot blame the process. He did know it was on Google. If the Conservative Research Department could find this information out, why couldn't Number 10?
Yeah.
On the 10th of September, when we knew this, I asked him at that dispatch box, he gave Mandelson his full confidence at that dispatch box, not once, but twice. He only sacked him after pressure from us. I am asking the Prime Minister something very specific, not about the generalities of the full extent. Can the Prime Minister tell us, did the official security vetting he received mention Mandelson's ongoing relationship with the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein?
So clear. Prime Minister.
Yes, it did. As a result, various questions were put to him. I intend to disclose to this House all of the national security, prejudice to international relations on one side. I want to make sure this House sees the full documentation, so it will see for itself the extent to which time and time again Mandelson completely misrepresented the extent of his relationship with Epstein and lied throughout the process, including in response to the due diligence.
Okay, let me get this right. First, Starmer said he didn't know anything. Then he says, oh yes, actually, when we vetted him, the documents that came did show that he was still, he had an ongoing relationship with Epstein after conviction. And then he says, oh yeah, we were told, but then we had to ask questions. Mandelson denied it. So you had the evidence already, and then you decided instead of to basically reject Mandelson, we know why he couldn't reject Mandelson, because Mandelson made Keir Starmer, just like how Mandelson made Tony Blair. Instead, he had the evidence in his hand and he asks Peter Mandelson, is this true? Mandelson says no, and Starmer believes Mandelson over the actual facts in his hand. It's crazy stuff. Now, evidence aside, you also have all this stuff, other things coming out again. Mandelson and Epstein celebrating the release of Epstein from prison in 2009 with strippers. Obviously, as one does, you get strippers. In January 2026, Mandelson told Laura Kuenssberg of the BBC, because I was a gay man, that's what Mandelson said, I was kept separate from what he was doing in the sexual side of life. So Mandelson claims that he had nothing was sexual when it comes to my relationship with Epstein's team. The emails suggest, Jeffrey says, free and home. And then Mandelson says, how shall we celebrate? Jeffrey says, with grace and modesty. Those are the names of two strippers. And then it says she feels fresh, firm, creamy, weird. And then the response, naughty boy. Okay. But he had nothing to do with the sexual part of his life. There was all this nonsense. This is, okay. Epstein sent this to Mandelson, right? I don't understand this, right? Glad you enjoyed Harvard. However, I must tell you that after years of being by your side, supporting your boyfriend when he needed it, unwavering in my guidance, though emotionally rejected, I am disappointed in what appears to be a one-way street. This is 2012. Jeffrey, can I have? Jeffrey, can you give? Jeffrey, can you organize? Can you call? Can you arrange? You have yet to offer real assistance, sign of gratitude or appreciation. Sorry. And then Mandelson says, I thought you knew, because I have said and written how much I appreciate your support. You are not an easy person to give to you, because you already have. But you didn't have. During your trials and tribunals, I never left your side. I was always there with advice and moral support, and I never turned away. So, although I accept your stricture, of course, and I feel it deeply, I don't think it has been a total one-way street. You can see the way Epstein had control and influence over his so-called friends, because he would do manipulation as well as blackmail and everything else. Like, oh, yeah, you're such a bad friend to me. I was always there. You always want something from me. And then Mandelson had to backtrack. And now this is coming to bite him in the backside, because he's now confirmed in writing again that he was always loyal to Epstein. Kemi Badenoch, again, then asked Keir Starmer just now if he will let the Intelligence Committee decide which Mandelson vetting documents are withheld and not the Prime Minister. Don't use the government to do it. We don't trust you. Starmer says, well, it won't really be a political process. Watch this.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is talking about national security. The national security issue was appointing Mandelson in the first place.
Yeah.
And what he has said about the humble address is a red herring. To those Labour MPs who were not there in the last Parliament, let me tell them, humble addresses already exempt genuine national security. This is not about national security, this is about his job security. His amendment lets him withhold anything to do with international relations.
Yeah.
But this whole appointment is to do with international relations. So if they're voting for it, they are voting for the cover-up. If the Prime Minister is serious about national security concerns, then he should ask the Intelligence and Security Committee to decide which documents should be released. Will he commit to doing so here and now?
Here we go.
Mr. Speaker, I've set out the process. It won't be a political process. It will be led by the Cabinet Secretary, supported by the government legal teams. But I'm pleased that she, I think, now accepts that at least the first exemption that we've written in to the amendment to the petition is the right amendment in relation to prejudice national security. But she and others behind her will understand that because of the breadth of what's asked for, and we're doing everything we can to make sure this is fully transparent and disclosed, but she and those behind her will understand from their own experience in government the sensitivity of information about security and intelligence and trade relations that are inevitably caught in exchanges of the nature that are being asked for. And it is right that anything that prejudices, not touches on, prejudices international relations is protected within the disclosure.
Okay. Obviously, this is Keir Starmer pretending that he wasn't trying to do any political interference in the files being released. But again, this is a lie. He's misleading the House as usual. The same problem that we had with the left-wing former Prime Minister of Israel, Barak. Now, we're going to talk about Ehud Barak as well, but even the Liberal Democrats had to hit back. Even the Lib Dems. That's embarrassing. Ed Davey raises the claims that obviously Epstein may have been spying, because obviously he had connections to intelligence services from around the world, including in Russia. And he had a really close relationship with a couple of FSB agents. And the claim was they're asking the Prime Minister if he's concerned that Mandelson indirectly leaked state secrets to Epstein that was then given to the Russian spies.
The Polish government think Epstein may have been spying for Vladimir Putin. Is the Prime Minister concerned that Peter Mandelson may have been leaking state secrets, not just to a paedophile American financier, but also a Russian agent?
Well, Mr. Speaker, he talks of a public inquiry. Obviously, the focus now has to be on the criminal investigation which has started. As he knows, that investigation will go wherever the evidence leads it. And I've made it absolutely clear that the government will cooperate, as he would expect, with that criminal investigation wherever it goes.
Okay. Well, the only problem with the allegations of any connections with spy agencies or agents in general is that he had the same relationship with many other intelligence services, not officially the intelligence services, but agents, part of the agencies. From the Chinese side, the Russian side, you also had the German side, the Israeli side, the American side, and the British side when it comes to MI6. And but again, when he had all this information to also use as blackmail, it was very hard at the time for all these people to publicly shame him. I get it. You got yourself into trouble. You're idiots. But you also need to answer some serious questions. There has to be actual prosecutions. There are serious crimes, and it's not really just about the sexual nature. Murders, they need to be investigated completely. Now, having said that, Peter Mandelson, this saga for Keir Starmer is getting worse than anybody else right now when it comes to political leaders. Peter Mandelson, we can now confirm that he was directly involved in helping Morgan McSweeney to choose the Labour Party's candidates for the 2024 general election. This is a bigger scandal than you think it is. So, there was a whistleblower from Labour that spoke to the iPaper and said that Mandelson helped identify potential candidates, and he was trying to see who is too left-wing, for example, for the party. And he was giving access to a secret Google spreadsheet of potential candidates that Morgan McSweeney, who was right-hand man to Keir Starmer in Downing Street, and his allies were using. Our Labour Party headquarters spokesperson said that Peter Mandelson had no role in official candidate selection, but this was off the books. So obviously he wasn't officially part of it. We get that. But remove the word officially and then give that exact same answer. I dare you. Keir Starmer, the Labour Party, all of you. The documents were off the book. We know that. Now, Peter Mandelson and Morgan McSweeney, their friendship, that also needs to be investigated, because these guys are the reason Keir Starmer is Prime Minister. Peter Mandelson, or the Prince of Darkness, as they call him in the Labour Party, he was the same man who did the same thing with Tony Blair. He created Blair and Blairism. Without Mandelson, you wouldn't have Blair. But he also tried his best to control Gordon Brown. And for about 14 years in opposition, he tried his best to control opposition leaders, apart from Jeremy Corbyn. But then he created the rebellion under Jeremy Corbyn, which was Keir Starmer, very subtly. And they want people to think that this was just a democratically normal process for the general election. The British public went out and voted and Keir Starmer became Prime Minister. No, the whole system was rigged from the beginning. Now, their relationship with also Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. Because we can now say that Andrew has moved out of the Royal Lodge in Windsor, but is now staying in Sandringham State, which is in Norfolk. Now, apparently he's getting ready for his new house. But he's still physically connected to the royal family's estates. It's still not really a good look. Now, there is a lot of pressure on the king, and it's not really the king, the crown, to act faster when it comes to not just Andrew, but his prime minister. Don't forget, Keir Starmer is not the British public's prime minister. We don't elect prime ministers in the UK. He's His Majesty's prime minister. He answers to the crown, not the public. But is the crown doing its job? King Charles is supposed to be the protector of the crown. Is he doing his job? Because the prime minister is not doing his job. Meanwhile, while everything else is falling apart, these are distractions as well, because the political discussions around it. More chaos on the streets of the United Kingdom. An 18-year-old man has now been arrested on suspicion of murder in Leicester. Stabbings, attack after attack after attack across England, specifically England. Another man in his 20s has now been killed, is now dead. The police obviously have now controlled the whole area, including the university campus of de Montfort. And there is a statement from the Vice-Chancellor of the university, Katie Norrington, saying, confirming the death of the student, saying, "We are devastated to confirm the tragic death of one of our students. Our thoughts are with everyone who is affected by what has happened. We are offering direct support to students, staff, and the family of the victim. We are working with Leicestershire Police as they investigate this major incident. Thank you for the messages of support that we have been receiving from the community of Leicester. It is a city that knows how to stand together in moments like this." What is this nonsense? Stupid, boring, repetitive statements. The Prime Minister and his ministers right now are too distracted to even care about what's going on the streets. The police commissioners that we have elected, which is the most stupid thing to do in the United Kingdom, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to hold the actual police leadership to account. Universities can't keep students safe. Nobody is safe in the United Kingdom because our politicians are too busy covering up their own cover-ups rather than actually help manage the country. This is the situation in the United Kingdom in 2026. It continues to get worse every single day. Nobody's safe. Tom Cruise announced that he's also leaving London. He was living in London thinking that it's a good place. Everyone's going. Now there is a response from one of the Labour MPs that's just come out in terms of the Morgan McSweeney scandal, saying today's Prime Minister's questions and Keir Starmer's expose, it's made things far, far worse. I couldn't believe some of his answers. We were aghast. It seemed like being present at the political death of the Prime Minister, whether or not Morgan McSweeney goes first. Starmer is toast. It's done. I don't see how he's going to be able to recover. And the system will have to throw some people under the bus in order for other people to survive. Keir Starmer is not an important person, so they're going to throw him under the bus. He's going to go. Because there are bigger people that need to be protected than Keir Starmer. Ivan says, this would have ended any other government. Will this bring down Starmer, or will the Westminster blob save him yet again? The thing is, the system, as I said, they will try their best to protect the literal criminals like Keir Starmer. Well, at least in terms of being crooked, right? But at the end of the day, when things get worse, they will have to throw him under the bus to protect the bigger names. So they're going to try their best to save him for a few days, few weeks maybe, but he's got no other option. Keir Starmer really lives up to his name as Keir, which is in Persian means penis. Starmer lies again and again. He needs to go. Our country is in danger, says Nina. How can you tell if Starmer is lying? His lips are moving. There's another joke with that same punchline when it comes to Starmer's lips, but I'm not going to say that. You could Google it yourself. The whole thing raises serious national security questions. Ironically, the Prime Minister is trying to use the national security concerns as an excuse not to release the files that basically compromise himself and Morgan McSweeney. I mean, it's not really just about Starmer as Prime Minister. The whole of Downing Street will have to go. You can't keep any of them. Even if you, for example, replace Starmer with, I don't know, West Streeting. And even West Streeting can't become leader anymore because he's also close to Peter Mandelson. That nobody who ever even decided to shake Mandelson's hand can't become a leader anymore. It's embarrassing, which means, there we go, I think we just got an update now from Parliament. Oh my God. At this point, ironically, it will have to be someone from the far left, the same side that Starmer was trying his best to stop under Jeremy Corbyn. So the far left of the Labour Party will take control, which is going to be worse than what you have with these centrist liberals. But we now have breaking news that the Labour government have now amended Keir Starmer's amendment. Yeah, you heard it right. They amended the amendment. This is the amendment that they put in because there's a vote in the House of Commons right now to release the files, the Mandelson vetting documents. Keir Starmer's Labour Party added an amendment to basically block most of it because national security issues, you have to have most of it redacted. So they've now amended the amendment after the Labour backlash. The Intelligence and Security Committee will decide which of the vetting documents and files will be withheld on national security grounds. The problem with this, by the way, is that this is still part of the state. So it might not be the government, but it's still the state. So the Intelligence and Security Committee, their job is to literally do cover-ups. So they're now in charge of seeing which documents should be redacted. It's a lose-lose. If you allow Downing Street to do it, it's a cover-up. If you allow the Intelligence Committee to do it, it's a cover-up as well. So the line is, any papers which are prejudicial to UK national security or international relations will be referred to the Intelligence and Security Committee, and then they will have to decide. So, okay, you can try this, but it's still not going to be able to save the Prime Minister. This is bad. It's very bad. As I said, let me just show you again. This is the moment that Keir Starmer couldn't control his hands from shaking. He had to literally use his other hand to hold the other hand.
But can I reassure
this is bad stuff.
Let me reassure the House. The process for deciding what falls into those
wait for it.
Will not be a political
look at the shake
process.
coming up
it will be
now.
Led by the Cabinet Secretary,
oh, it's a bad look.
By government legal teams.
So bad. So embarrassing. Now,
the humble address in a moment.
Let's get this ready. But the problem that we currently have is, I'm just waiting for the vote in Parliament, is that none of these guys are actually even trying their best to tell the truth, even from the Labour Party backbenchers, because everybody's scared what else could come out. This is so much worse than what we even thought a few weeks ago. Alan says, if there was ever a doubt, it is now clear that Parliament has gone to the dogs. Or did I imagine canine present? Parliament is... It's just the low quality of the caliber of the MPs don't really help. You have, I mean, at least the Tory opposition, who only have just over 100 MPs, they managed to do something productive, while the rest of the MPs in Parliament just standing around like a bunch of idiots. Kemi Badenoch, she's not the most charismatic leader, but she managed to get her team to dig deep and actually find the truth and hold them to account and push for this vote. The rest of the opposition, including the Liberal Democrats, just standing around like a bunch of idiots, asking stupid questions, trying to do gotcha for their media, social media videos. Reform UK, the same thing. Reform UK, the Lib Dems, the SNP, they're not doing anything productive. They're just standing around doing their speeches so that their supporters go, yeah, that was good. Do your job as a parliamentarian. Right now, we only have basically a handful of Tory frontbenchers, not all of the Tories, and Rupert Lowe, who are actually doing parliamentary jobs, their job as parliamentarians. The rest of them, I don't even know what they're doing. They're just going, having long lunches with alcohol, to get drunk by 2 p.m. It's embarrassing. How much more are we going to take of this absolute S-show and corrupt government? Every effing day is another scandal of a Labour member since they have been in power. Just enough. Get them out. Yeah. Stuttering Starmer should be Starmer's new name. Clearly his line. What else is new? He should be jailed. Bless you, Maya. There needs to be a full... I mean, the police have now contacted the Prime Minister's office, but I don't trust those guys to do a proper investigation. Carter says, Yank here. If King Charles won't do his job, then he should step aside and allow William and Catherine to take over. Well, that will be unconstitutional, unfortunately. That's the problem. Monarchy is different to presidential systems. You can't just stand down because it just completely undermines the whole point of the crown. It's a lose-lose. Does Labour have any viable replacement leaders? At this point, no, because they didn't even allow Andy Burnham to come back to Parliament. So it's going to be very hard for them. So you got Wes Streeting, who's a young face, but he was also friends with Peter Mandelson, not a good look. Then they have Angela Rayner from the left wing of the Labour Party, but she could be charismatic for the left-wing voters, but she can't win general elections. It's very hard for them. They have Dan Jarvis, who's basically an even more boring version of Keir Starmer. But yeah, it's very, very difficult to see what they can do to replace Starmer, because they either, the rest of them, apart from the cabinet, the rest of them are too left-wing. The cabinet people, they're boring. And then the other guys are just wishy-washy. They have so many MPs. They got over about 300-ish MPs. No talent in the House. I emailed you Iranian school. Check it out. I'll try. We get 5,000 emails every day, by the way. So we have to go through every single email. Our team does. So if there's a delay in responses, apologies. It's mostly because people keep sending us links. Links to news that we're already reporting. So if you have any customer issues or questions about the website, I apologize, because we get a lot of spams and a lot of people sending us news links. So we'll get back to you guys eventually. Our team is working on it hard. Sorry to see, but I don't think the US is going to help the Iranian people. Nothing to do with this. The whole reason pedophiles they get light sentences is because the elites are all up to the sinister evil themselves. Love you, Tousi. And Ivan says P45 is being prepared en masse. But they're also going to get big pension. That's the problem. Even when you kick these people out, they're going to get massive payouts, massive pension. One that says, congratulations, Tousi, Mr. Tousi. I've been with you since nearly the beginning. Rest in peace, Bamban. And witnessed your unrelenting strength, resilience, and bravery in your quest to bring us the truth. Thank you so much, Molly. Hiding behind security and regulations, typical globalist leftist criminals. It's always a good excuse, isn't it? It's the same with the public health as an excuse. If you bring up public health, then you can do whatever you want. Well, it's a public health crisis, national security crisis, international security crisis. You could literally just do full-on tyranny and get away with it, because that's what they've always done. Anyway, we are now waiting for the vote in the House of Commons. What on earth is going on? But I was going to also talk about this crazy stuff, because the former Prime Minister of Israel, Barak, evil man. Now, his connection as a typical left-wing weirdo with Epstein has created more of a headache than the political left even thought. So he's still not answering questions, Barak. At the same time, we got massive problems with the cover-ups of the cover-ups. And then there was this response that we had from Tommy Robinson saying a demonic Epstein, a good friend to Ehud Barak, the former Israeli Prime Minister, who visited him at his townhouse in Manhattan, and of course the island. The Barak is another one of those people who continued his friendship with Epstein after he was convicted. Epstein was federally charged in New York in 2019. Somehow, the left-wing politician from Israel decided it's absolutely normal behavior. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu has been warning people since 2019 onwards. Literally, the moment he realized what's going on with the Epstein conviction, and he realized what is it with the political left in Israel and their obsession with protecting Barak. He kept warning people. For years and years, people ignored Netanyahu. Now, look at the mess that you're dealing with. Anyway, we'll keep you guys posted on the situation in the House of Commons and the files being released. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.